Hi there, Coach Alexa here. I'm continuing my series on, medical related stuff, and today I wanted to talk about conditions that have a fatigue or pain component. So this is not just, oh goodness, I'm a bit tired because I've had a busy few days or a bad night's sleep. This is fatigue in the more medical sense, so really limiting to what your brain can manage, giving you a bit of brain fog and that kind of thing, but real kind of fatigue where daily activities are really quite a noticeable physical and very tiring thing to do. Often can go hand in hand with more longer term pain conditions, or pain symptoms even. So examples of what I'm talking about here are things like chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, long COVID, some immune related conditions like lupus, for example. And there are lots of other conditions as well that will have both the fatigue and that sort of physical pain component to them. So obviously not trying to give any form of medical advice here, just some of my thoughts from professional and personal experience about some of the things that can help with managing it. And a lot of people perhaps would have the view that those people that would have those kind of conditions would be sitting around and doing nothing because they're really tired and fatigued. And whilst that can be quite tempting sometimes, actually, there is some good evidence to show that by gradually improving fitness, physical fitness, you increase your body's capability to be able to do more longer term. So it is very similar to, building up our running fitness as I would with any random person off the street. The more you train, the more your body is able to do. When I'm talking in terms of these types of conditions, it's more that physical activity can actually then help our bodies have more of a capacity for life stuff, to be able to do a little bit more cleaning around the house, to be able to spend a little bit more time outdoors with your kids, that more physical capacity before you get really tired and fatigued, in order to do life stuff, the boring life stuff, and hopefully the fun life stuff too. There are two relatively common challenges, I'd say, with physical activity and pain and fatigue conditions. And the first one is that real deep fatigue and pain both act as quite strong demotivators. Is that the right word? So what we do something, we maybe do a tiny little bit too much, we get a flare up in pain, or we're wiped out, absolutely wiped out for a little while afterwards, a few days afterwards. And quite rightly, our brain thinks, probably shouldn't do that again. So because we did ever so slightly too much, we just end up doing a bit less and a bit less and a bit less. And it makes sense, doesn't it? You want to kind of avoid those things that maybe cause those flare-ups in your condition. But actually what we want to do is try and find that balance, and by doing less and less and less, your body then gets used to doing less and therefore doesn't have that capacity to do more of the life stuff or the physical activity longer term. The other pattern, which I see quite a lot and I see in myself reasonable amounts of time as well, is a bit of a boom and bust. You're feeling like you're on and up, you're having a good day, a good week, you're feeling a little bit better than usual. So you do probably a little bit more than you should have done. And you may have had that little, maybe this is a bit much, or maybe you didn't, or maybe you just carried on anyway and it was a great day and it was wonderful. And then 2 days later, you're like, why on earth did I do that? I'm now completely poleaxed for the next week. Brilliant. So it becomes a bit of a boom and bust. We do a little bit too much and then we have to spend time not doing much at all in order to recover. And then we're like, oh, okay, I feel great again now. Then we do it again. So the key to both of these different patterns is to try and find a little medium in the middle that gradually, and I do mean gradually, over time, we can just get that little happy medium to sort of gradually go up. Again, something that I work on with, average sort of person without these kind of medical or conditions, is balancing their training with rest days, recovery weeks, around what else they've got going on physically, emotionally, work-wise, family, all of that sort of stuff. But I'd say that's so much more important, and it has so much more of a clear and obvious impact on people's capacity for things in general, not just training, when they've got other stuff going on, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever as well. So it takes, I say it becomes much more of a day-by-day adaptation. So the runners that I work with and have worked with over the years with these styles of conditions, it's very much an ongoing conversation and adjustment, way more so than for, you know, runners that aren't impacted by these types of conditions. So if what some of I've been saying has resonated with you, if you have a bit of health stuff that, you know, maybe has a fatigue, a pain, or you know, an impact on an ongoing basis that you're struggling to kind of manage, or you want to get back into training, or you're struggling to manage that training balance, drop me a line. Everybody is completely different, but what I can promise to do is that I will work with you to do my best to find the right balance for you. Hope that's helpful.